Hello everyone, I'm Enrique and welcome back to see my thoughts on WrestleMania 41, this time talking about Night 2. Now, like I said, if you want to know my thoughts on Night 1, please click the video that I already reviewed last year on the description below, and let's talk about what happens at Night 2. So, one thing to mention, the WrestleMania openings were kicked by two different people. Triple H kicked the first WrestleMania Night 1, and Stephanie McMahon kicked off WrestleMania's 41 Night 2 herself. But now let's talk about the matches that we got. So it was Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley in a triple threat match for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. So one thing to remember, Bianca Belair won the Elimination Chamber match last month. We also see Rhea Ripley regained the Women's World Heavyweight Championship from Liv Morgan after a tremendous rivalry last year. And now we got Io Sky. Now, Io Sky was champion last year and faced Bayley for the WWE's Women's Championship. But this year, she became world champion after interference from Bianca Belair, or at the very least, by distraction from Bianca Belair to Rhea Ripley. Now, all of these three women are tremendous workhorses in the ring. And let me tell you, I was scared for Io as well. The same way as I was scared for Tiffany, but that was mainly because Io got lost in this rivalry because we all thought that she was not going to be in a championship match again after last year, that she was going to be relegated to the sidelines along with the other wrestlers, that she will not become champion again, but then she did in a surprising turn, in my opinion. She won the Women's Championship from Rhea Ripley on Monday Night Raw, and we all thought, okay, this has to be a triple threat match because we wouldn't be talking about this if it wasn't true. And honestly, yeah, it was true because the match, it was a triple threat and it was really great. It was a great opener. A lot of people say this was a better opening than Jey Uso versus Gunther. And I couldn't agree more because honestly, this was very high pace. It was intriguing. It was almost dramatic, but it was so entertaining. And it was good to see Bianca, Rhea, and Io Sky putting the work. All these three women deserve the best. And honestly, they got the WrestleMania moments. In my opinion, they really were the victors. And Io ended up retaining the championship from the both women. So yeah, she has momentum now, and I hope she continues. But now let's talk about the Sin City Street fight between Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. Now, this has a rivalry that was already built up from last year's WrestleMania. And the reason for that is that Damian Priest cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase against Drew McIntyre, who just became champion last year, but also won it in a short time because he held the title before CM Punk attacked him, and Damian Priest took advantage of the opportunity and cashed in his Money in the Bank to become world champion himself. So basically, they both have a grudge against each other. They both ended up in fights, championships, a lot of hoops. The Royal Rumble match got Damian Priest to toss Drew McIntyre and make him so pissed, very, very pissed. And we got to this point, which was a Sin City Street fight between two men. Now, Drew McIntyre came out of the rivalry between him and Punk looking very strong, and Damian Priest, after his match as the world champion, became like big powerhouses, both men. So it was going to be a good match. Although I would say this, it could have been a lot brutal. Like, it was brutal, but I feel like they could have done more crazy spots, They could have, do more matches or maybe try to do more crazy spots, maybe bleed a little, to show the hatred to each other and hopefully to make their match more memorable than any other. But in the end, it got held back a little bit, but it wasn't bad. It's just it could have been a lot crazier. But Drew McIntyre got the victory, and honestly, he was long overdue, in my opinion. I like Demi Priest, but Drew needed this victory, especially after last year. I'm just saying. But both effort for both men, and it's good to see that they got an entertaining match overall. But now we got the fatal four-way match between Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, Penta, and the champion Braun Breaker. Now, the Intercontinental Championship has been held by Braun Breaker for a long time. He has held it since last year, becoming WWE's biggest powerhouse and showing that he has a lot of strength and ability to show off his skills. And like I said, he's going to form an alliance with Seth and Paul Heyman, so it should be good. But yeah, it's good to see that the son of Rick Steiner has come to bigger places ever since his NXT debut. So I'm happy for him. But yeah, not only did we got Penta in the mix after his debut from this year, but also we got Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. Two rivals, or at the very least two members of the Judgment Day who are trying to help each other but also have a jealousy between each other. And it got worse when Dominic was suggesting to Finn to add in more members to the Judgment Day, which is probably going to backfire for Finn, or it's going to make him being kicked out, but we can only hope and wait and see, because it's going to get worse for Finn. I guarantee you that, especially after this. The match was high-paced, it was entertaining. All four men show their prowess. Penta with his high-flying skills. Dominic showing a little bit more as he's this new Eddie Guerrero-like. Not entertaining, but still a heel kind of guy that you just love to hate. Finn Balor trying to become more serious or to be shown as a more serious guy. And Braun Breaker trying to destroy everybody. But in the end, it was Dominic Mysterio with the victory, becoming the new IC champion. And now we have to wait and see what happens. Now with Penta, it's probably going to continue with the title chase. And Finn and Dominic are probably going to create a rivalry between each other. And at one point, Finn is going to leave the Judgment Day or is going to get kicked out by a new member. I don't know. Do something crazy. And Dominic, well, we all hate him, but we love to hate him. And it's going to be entertaining for him. And hopefully on the line, he will be more liked by people. Going from a more heelish character to a more babyface-like. That's just me. But yeah, that was entertaining. And I hope to see more for all four men. Up next, we got Randy Orton. Now, Randy was supposed to wrestle Kevin Owens for a grudge match between the two men. After all, Kevin left Randy injured last year, and we all thought that this was culminating this year at WrestleMania. But unfortunately, Kevin Owens suffered a massive neck injury, which make him relegate his WrestleMania match against Randy Orton. Now, Randy asked for a new opponent at WrestleMania, so we don't leave them fans cheat out of a Randy Orton match. And that's exactly what we got. It was Randy Orton challenging anybody for the match. And we got what I thought it was a surprise. Like, there were rumors about Aleister Black or Rusev coming back to the WWE, which we got. Rusev was in WWE on Raw, while Aleister Black was on SmackDown. But instead of that, we got a TNA guy, specifically Joe Hendry. Now, if you don't know who Joe Hendry is, he's the newest TNA World Heavyweight Champion. He was a wrestler who went through humble beginnings from his days in WCPW to be in the big leagues of TNA. And the fact that he got to this point, and the fact that he is in a match, in a big pay-per-view match against Randy Orton, and it was a surprise, incredible. Like, unbelievable. Like, I know a lot of people are worried for TNA and their partnership with WWE, but let me tell you, this is a moment that benefits Joe Hendry a lot because, yes, Randy Orton won in the end, but it was a good showcase of Joe Hendry, and hopefully we could to see more things for Joe Hendry. Maybe he stays in TNA and becomes more of a powerhouse. Maybe he goes to WWE and becomes in a rivalry between him and Randy Orton. I don't know. But Joe Hendry got the victory, not in the match, but in terms of moments. So I'm appreciating that. But up next, we got a match between Logan Paul versus AJ Styles. Now, AJ is one of the best wrestlers alive. Logan Paul is a celebrity wrestler who proved himself to be a maverick. But I will say this, I don't like Logan Paul. No matter what, I just don't care about the guy. And he's kind of a dick. And let me tell you, he's a dick. I just don't like his YouTube influence. I don't know. It's just me. I'm just saying that. But both men had a great match. It was incredible. Both showing their high-flying maneuvers. We continue the story between AJ and Karrion Kross, where Karrion was trying to motivate AJ Styles to cheat in order to defeat Logan Paul, but that didn't happen, and Logan Paul got the victory. I thought for sure that, that Karrion Kross is going to interfere in this match, maybe cost AJ the title, but he's shown to be more obsessed with AJ Styles to make him more of a baddie. And I like that. It's basically the devil's advocate. Although I wish Karrion Kross had a match at WrestleMania. I'm just saying. I think I remember a post on him from Instagram wanting to retire John Cena. I don't know. It's my opinion. But up next, we got the WWE's Women's Tag Team Championship between Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Lyra Valkyria and her mystery opponent. Now, it was supposed to be Bayley, but they wrote this angle that Bayley got attacked from behind, and that caused her to miss WrestleMania. But we got a good replacement in Becky Lynch, who, after almost a year away from WWE, she returns and she's showing not with no signs of slowing down. So I'm very happy for her. They both got the victory and the tag team titles in this match, but I should mention that by the time I'm recording this, both Liv and Raquel regained their titles and Becky Lynch turned heel against Lyra Valkyria. So yeah, it's basically a hot potato situation and a heel turn for Becky. But hey, I hope we can see her doing more fun stuff. And now that Seth is also a heel, they could join forces and maybe both husband and wife are now reunited with this new dangerous alliance with Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker. I'm just saying, it could be good. It could be good. But yeah, nothing to write home about, but it was good to see the tag team champions in the women's division showing their prowess. It was a good moment for Lyra Valkyria. I'm really glad that she got her WrestleMania match here. But now it's time to talk about the main event. The match that we all been waiting to see and we all wanted to happen almost for years. Between Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Now, it's important to remember, Cody Rhodes, not only was he the champion for a year in wrestling in WWE, but this was also the farewell tour of John Cena as an active wrestler. Now, everybody, including myself, thought for many, many years that if John Cena was going to retire, is going to stay a babyface. But we ended up having a complete switch because John Cena, for the first time in his career for more than a decade, he became a heel, signing or selling his soul to The Rock alongside Travis Scott. And now John Cena is the heel that Cody Rhodes feels that he needs to stop before he gets the WWE Championship. Now, why did John Cena turn heel? Well, in story, it's because he felt that he had enough, that he was in an abusive relationship with the fans, that he got cheated out of his championship, that he got cheated out of his fellow world tour, and that he wanted to become champion, break the record of Ric Flair, something like that. Things that happened, and it was basically John Cena finally realizing that he doesn't need the fans, that he never needed them, and he wanted the champion for himself. In fact, making the statement that when he won the championship, that he was going to retire with the championship and ruin wrestling for everybody. Basically, it was what everybody wanted from John Cena as a heel. To be a guy who ruins wrestling, to be the guy that you hated to see on the screens, to be this guy who just didn't care about the fans and show that he was a bad guy in the end. And well, what we got is basically that and a rivalry between him and Cody Rhodes to show that he's the new babyface in town. A lot of people were conflicted on how to react to it because keep in mind, this is not the same John Cena from years ago. And I don't mean the character, I mean hating John Cena. Keep in mind that a lot of people hate John Cena from years ago, from 2009, 11, 9, 10, 11, and 12, thinking that he was the guy who buries good talent. And basically, he made those frustrations bent here, basically saying, oh, I bury mediocrity, or I was the guy who buries guys because they were mediocre, not on my level, or that he was going to ruin wrestling for everybody. You know, heel stuff that a lot of us wanted to see from years ago. Well, not me, actually. I should rephrase that. A lot of people except me because I honestly enjoy John Cena as a babyface because I feel like we with so many heel turns and babyface turns, I feel like there has to be any consistency between the wrestlers, especially with the characters. Like something that makes us say, "Oh, this guy didn't never turn heel," and I liked it for that, or something like that. And I'm glad that John Cena never turned heel until this point. But yeah, basically that's the story. But here's the thing. A lot of people, while they were building this match, were saying, where's The Rock? Why is he not? Why he isn't in the build-up? Why is he not appearing in the match? I'm getting to The Rock in a moment, but let's talk about the match itself. Now, John Cena's entrance was different. It was all decked in black, kind of like Batista when he turned heel in 2009, and basically just showing this care or non-care for the fans, putting the towel behind the back of his head, and a lot of people mocked John Cena for his ball cap. Let me tell you, that is insensitive and that is so rude. Let me tell you that is not good. But yeah, basically John Cena showing not signs of caring for the fans. I will say that the attires doesn't change. It's still the same baseball cap, t-shirts, colorful t-shirts, and nicknames. But yeah, other than that, and the Titantron, not much change with the attire of John, which a lot of people feel like he should be decked in black or showing, I don't know, differences between his t-shirts. But that's just opinions. But needless to say, John Cena got his entrance, Cody Rhodes got his entrance, and they both fight. The match itself was pretty different from what we used to, and I mean from what we used to see in John Cena. He's always very speed, always getting knocked down, but this time he was more meticulous in his match, showing more meticulously and taking his time on his moves. Because after all, if you're a heel, you have to take your time, be abrasive, showing off your moves. And that's what we got in the end. The ending of the match, a lot of people will say it's disappointing for a number of reasons, but more specifically for what did not happen. But I'm going to get to that. Basically, John Cena and Cody Rhodes were knocked down. The referee is outside. And then we hear Travis Scott coming. Then we see him going slowly to the ring. John Cena getting the championship from the time bookie. Cody Rhodes knocking down Travis Scott. Then Cody Rhodes and John Cena having a tug of war with the championship. Cody trying his best to not become a heel. And then he got kicked in the nuts by John. And then he got hit in the face with the title. And in the end, the referee came and put the 1, 2, 3. John Cena is the new WWE champion. A lot of people are disappointed for the match. Not because the right guy won, because John Cena won. No, a lot of people will tell you this. The right guy won in the end. The problem was what didn't happen, like I said. And that is due because of The Rock. Now, here's the thing. The Rock was instrumental for the heel turn of John Cena. In story, he wanted Cody Rhodes' soul. He never got it, and then John Cena turned heel and put his soul into The Rock. We all expecting the same thing, that The Rock was going to come out, interfere in the match, and help John Cena to win. Basically, to pay back Cody for taking away his main event, for basically taking back why he never main evented WrestleMania to face Roman Reigns for the title, things like that, things that we saw last year at WrestleMania. And we thought it was going to happen here. But in a complete move of egos, The Rock decided, nah, I'm not going to be there. And making the excuses that he was not needed, that his story was done, that he wasn't needed for the match, that he didn't want to convolute things, and that he was reshooting scenes from Moana. Excuses upon excuses. Now, there's a lot of blame to come around here, specifically not only with The Rock, but also WWE and Triple H. The reason for that is because TKO felt like the sales at the Elimination Chamber were being too slow, and they wanted to raise the tickets a little bit more faster. So they called The Rock in order to put him into an appearance. Now, one thing I should mention, this was incredibly stupid for TKO to do. Now, if the problem is ticket sales, just lower the prices, because people are not having enough money these days and you're hurting their wallets. So maybe if you lower the prices a little bit more, things will be better. So that way we'd avoid the slowness in buying ticket sales. I'm just saying. But yeah, it was because of that The Rock got the idea of coming and had this idea of making Cody Rhodes a heel and selling his soul to him. Basically become friends after that. But they vetoed that idea. Now, Triple H, while not great, a perfect booker, he understands wrestling. I always have my problems with Triple H, but I always respect the manner in which he treats his stars and his stories. He's not an idiot like Vince McMahon. And the fact that The Rock wanted to be inserted into his match, but had no plans for the future and just doing it because he wants to, it shows his ego. And apparently his idea was vetoed because they didn't want Cody Rhodes to turn heel. So they decided to go with John Cena instead. So they said, okay. And The Rock, basically after that, said, no, I'm not going to be participating for that. It's obvious because The Rock wanted a certain way, and the people say, no, this makes no sense. Please, let's just go with this other idea. And while I will admit that not having The Rock does felt refreshing, and at the very least, I didn't want to see The Rock. It was so disappointing that he inserted himself into the story, and somehow he decides, "No, I'm good. I'm not gonna be participating." It just shows that the ego that this guy has is probably the same rings of ego that we got with Hulk Hogan, because he's like, I don't want to do this way. You have to do it my way. And all because he's a big star. Let me tell you, Barack could be a great star, but he has been having a lot of problems lately. Not only from his matches, but also from his movies. They're not doing well. He comes back to WWE as a TKO holder or a shareholder or something like that, and then he doesn't want to participate. Like, it shows clearly to me that this guy felt denied by a lot of people, and he didn't want to appear, make the job, pay his dues. And that just shows you the ego that this guy has. Look, I know that The Rock is not a terrible person. He's not like he's the worst as Vince McMahon, but he has an ego that he needs to get over with. Man, like, get off your high horse. It's no longer 1990. It's no longer 2011 and 13. You're no longer an active wrestler. And if you're not going to participate, then say so. Don't be in an elimination chamber. Needless to say, it eclipsed almost everything from this match. John Cena's historical win as a 17-time world champion, which I wanted to see for years. And then The Rock has to decide not to come and to make this the pay-per-view or the match disappointing for everyone. I didn't find it disappointing. Let me make that clear. I found it entertaining, and the right guy won. But The Rock should have been there at the very least to show that he care about this match. Or if you want to put myself, don't be in the match at all. Or don't put himself into this story thinking that you have nothing to do with it when you have everything to do with it. Needless to say, it was a terrible decision for The Rock, and WWE got hurt by that. Now, Triple H, unfortunately, is not admissible, or is not guiltless, because he also said that to people when they criticize the product, says, just shut up and enjoy it. Like, you can't do that, because we're watching this show and we want to give you our voice. So yeah, terrible way, or the disappointing way to end WrestleMania. And while I like the fact that John Cena won the 17-time World Championship, this could have been a lot better. Or at the very least, give Cody his due as well. Make him show that he was harder to take down. But whatever. But The Rock really disappointed us. But yeah, basically that was my opinion. At the very least, John Cena is doing a lot of work, a lot of good work as a heel, and his signs of being the real champion are going to continue with his match against Randy Orton, which I actually hope is good, and hopefully we can just get past The Rock. I know it's hard to forget, and I know that The Rock has been instrumental for this heel turn. But if he's not going to show up, then fine. Screw him. Let's just enjoy John Cena and his heel run and see where it goes, especially with his match against Randy Orton at Backlash. But yeah, those are my thoughts on these matches. Overall, WrestleMania is still not one of my favorites, but I'm glad that I saw it and I got entertained with some matches. It's just that the build-up and the deliveries could have been a lot better. And it's not to say, oh, I hate this. No, I don't want to say, oh, I hate this, and then go and say AEW is better than this. No, guys, I'm a fan of wrestling just like you are. but I'm not going to put my sights on any other company. I will say this. I'm not watching AEW that consistently because they've been having a lot of problems. But they had a lot of good things and a good talent. It's just that they needed to improve in their stories and be more consistent. But that's just me. And a lot of people feel that way. But just because something is better than the other, that doesn't mean that I hate this other company. I should not hate this company simply because the other one is doing better. I'm just saying. But I wish this WrestleMania could have been a lot better, and hopefully we're going to get that next year. There is always going to be another WrestleMania. There's always going to be another match. So I'm looking forward to see what other new challenges, new ideas, and other new wrestlers we can see in the future. So yeah, it's basically an above average for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. What do you guys think about WrestleMania 41? Do you love it, hate it? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you next time. Peace.